My name is Ajoke. I'm studying MSc Management with the student identification number 210775540. The primary aim of this discussion is to investigate the effects of population growth on economic development in Nigerian agricultural sector. And my objective is to examine population growth and its impacts in Nigeria's agricultural sector. Today, I will be talking about the population growth and economic growth, an examination of growth prospects in Nigeria's agricultural industry. I'll be focusing majorly on examining the relationship between population growth and economic growth in Nigeria's agricultural sector. Nigeria is a country with a rapidly increasing population, and the agricultural industry plays a crucial role in its economy. Understanding the variation between population growth and economic growth in the agricultural sector is essential for policymakers, researchers, and practitioners as they tell us about the policies, strategies, and intervention in shaping sustainable agricultural policies and promoting economic growth. The data were collected primarily from three major sources. The first source of data were collected from National Population Commission, National Bureau of Statistics, the World Bank and United Nations data, which was made to generate themes and sub-themes. The second source are scholarly articles, national data from the Bureau of Statistics, and data from Ministry of Agriculture in Nigeria, which was collected to study outcome of rapid population growth. The third sources are literatures obtained from various databases such as Google Scholar, Statista, and Gray literatures from government agencies and other relevant authorities to examine how population growth affects economic growth in the agricultural sector of Nigeria. This was introduced to reinforce the facts obtained in the first and second sources to enable me make conclusion and recommendations. This data was collected using various search engines and various search options such as growth, economic growth, the agricultural sector in Nigeria, effect of the population growth on the agricultural sector in Nigeria, the impacts of population growth on economic growth. All the data collected and used were all qualitative data sets obtained from a period of 12 years, 2010 to 2022. The data collection process was aligned with the study's objectives, and the findings from the different sources were synthesized to draw meaningful conclusions and recommendations. The data in this research were obtained from longitudinal data sets. Considering the nature of qualitative data obtained from this, the various sources of thematic analysis shall be employed for the data analysis. In this research, for data analysis, thematic research themes and subthemes were selected. The first theme was population dynamics with subthemes population growth rates, population demographics, urban and rural migration. The second theme was agricultural productivity with subthemes technology adoption in farming, crop yield, and land use. The third theme was economic indicators with subthemes GDP growth rates, Employment and income trends, investments, and government policies. The first theme, population dynamics, tells us about the rapid increase in population and its impact over the years, how farmers have to expand their cultivation as the demand has risen, and how to have to use newer and faster farming techniques. It also explains the effects of urbanization as the lands that are meant to be used for farming are turned into housing estates and industrial purposes. It was a lot for them. It also narrates to us how lack of sources affects the agricultural produce. After the harvesting of crops, most farmers find it hard to transport their produce as they don't have the equipment and support needed. Some of the inferences drawn from the analysis of data collected were that Nigeria has one of the world's fastest growing populations, with an annual growth rate of about 2.6% since the year 2021. The current population stand at around 224 million as at of the year 2023. And rapid population growth has significant implications for demand for stable foods like rice, maize, and cassava. A substantial portion of Nigeria's population comprises youths, with about 70% being below 30, presenting an opportunity to enhance the country's agricultural sector. However, the major constraints hindering youth participation in agriculture were identified as inadequate credit facility, lack of agricultural insurance, poor returns to agricultural investments, lack of basic farming knowledge, limited access to farming education, and lack of access to tractors and other farm inputs. The Chi-square showed relationship between the constraints and inadequate credit facility as well as lack of basic farming knowledge. This situation led many youths to migrate to other parts of the world seeking greener pastures. I made findings based on agricultural productivity. And I found out that in order for agricultural productivity to come around in Nigeria, there needs to be some crucial aspects such as technology adoption in farming access to market and land use. Urbanization is a significant trend in Nigeria, posing challenges to the nation's development. Urban areas, exemplified by Lagos, face issues like slum, traffic congestion, and inadequate public services. Urban expansion has led to the conversion of farmer agricultural land at the city outskirts into housing estates and commercial areas. This reduces the amount of land available for farmers to cultivate on, therefore resulting in less productivity. I also made some analysis on economic indicators and found out that the GDP rate is very crucial aspect as it indicates the progress and expansion of a country's economy. In my findings, I discovered that the current GDP growth rate in Nigeria is 3.3%, and agriculture only contributes 23.8%, which occurred as a result of overpopulation. This tells us that high population growth can lead to relatively lower GDP per capita. In conclusion, while a growing population can contribute to economic dynamism, consumption, and demand, it also places pressure on resources, infrastructure, and services. Strategic planning is essential to harness the benefit of population growth while diminishing potential negative consequences and ensuring sustainable economic development. We therefore conclude that Nigeria has not really tapped into the population potentials to enhance economic prosperity in the agricultural sector, leading to the increase in food prices becoming unaffordable. You need to see how food prices have gone up in Nigeria. This is alarming. I would love to recommend that the Nigerian government should foster collaboration between the government, private sector, and civil society for development. As you all know, development is very important. As a matter of fact, it's a major factor that determines the rate at which a nation grows. They should also allocate resources to research and development and invest in rural infrastructure, such as roads and irrigation system, as this can improve the transportation of goods, reduce post-harvest losses, and enhance market access. They should also set up various schools of agriculture in order to create awareness of the opportunities available in agriculture. If this is done properly, there will be a great improvement in the economic situation. This research was a very interesting one. I must tell you this. It pushed me to be a better version of myself, and I know more. And I'm now better at handling qualitative research using secondary data, and it has prepared me for future research activities. And I am thankful to all those who made this possible. This slide shows a Gantt chart that represents the various timelines from the beginning of this research process, illustrating my progress over time. This is the bibliography of this research. They are as follows.